From Georgia, Mr. Loudermilk is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Chopra, thank you for being here. Chairman Barr mentioned something in his opening statement I'd like to start out with, and that's that according to your own data, 74% of Americans pay their credit cards on time. That is to say, they never pay the late fees. According to your own proposed rule, however, cardholders who do not pay late fees will be paying higher fees, higher interest on interest-paying accounts, and will receive lower rewards because of the cross-subsidy. Under Section 1022 of Dodd-Frank, you are required to consider the cost of all CFPB rulemaking. And I can't see how this rule that rewards irresponsible cardholders at the expense of responsible ones is a net benefit. With that said, how did this rule survive a rigorous cost-benefit analysis?
So, appreciate the question, Congressman. So what you mentioned, those were not predictive. That was potential scenarios we looked at. And the core of what we're doing—
What was not predictive?
The idea, there's potential ways in which the market could shift. So what I'm trying to explain is the core of what that rule review is doing is reviewing a congressional prohibition on unreasonable penalty fees. So what we're trying to accomplish is making sure, yes, if institutions have costs, how can they make sure that it is a reasonable cost? And we're specifically looking at the Fed's rule they put into place that we inherited, which did not have much data backing it, in order to make sure it's modern realities. No, there's still going to be late fees. It will just how they make sure that they're in line with the congressional prohibition.
So let me reclaim my time now. You said that the fees are reasonable. I mean, that's very subjective. Now, these are fees that the user agreed to when they took the credit card, because the fees, as you mentioned, do recoup costs, but they're also designed to be slightly punitive to stop bad behavior from happening again. What you're proposing is basically taking that away and then giving the punitive charge to those who are obeying the contract or the agreement they made with the credit card company.
No, that's not right. And I just want to make sure something is clear. Reasonable is not the CFPB's word. That's actually what is in statute. So the statute says that the penalties must be reasonable and proportional to the omission.
But did they not agree to whatever fee structure it was when they agreed to take the credit card?
That is true, but the reasonable and proportional is a separate prohibition. So again, one of the things that is in there is institutions can certainly be able to show why there is reasonable, and we proposed a framework.
But why are you even going this direction?
The reason why is because what we have found across consumer credit markets is it's not a fair and competitive market when an institution has an incentive for someone to default or be late. We learned the hard way about this with subprime mortgages, where an originator actually could benefit even if the borrower defaulted. Most credit card companies, especially small ones, don't have that business model, and our review is that they don't actually build a business model or profit more when someone is late. In some cases, a borrower, they might just be a day late or a few dollars off and get a very large fee. That's what Congress was seeking to prohibit, and we want a market where creditor really wants the person to—
Really what I see is we're intruding in what really should be the responsibility of the consumer because they agreed to go into this agreement. But, earlier this year, FHFA finalized changes to the loan level price adjustment tables that resulted in borrowers with good credit scores paying higher rates for their home. This is obviously unpopular with consumers. Aren't you concerned that you're sending the same message to consumers with this rule?
No.
With 75% pay theirs on time.
In fact, I think what this will do is actually help those compete on upfront pricing. So consumers are really smart in the credit card market. As soon as an issuer starts raising annual fees, they know how they look to switch. It's easier for them to know the full price that way. So what we're hoping to do is adhere to the congressional prohibition on unreasonable fees, which is the word reasonable is in the statute, while creating that ability for more competition up front.
No, thank you. My time is expiring, but I would think that consumer education would be more effective. And
Time of the
Chairman, I
gentleman
yield
has
back.
expired.